Okay, don't forget to sign in. We are going to talk today about work sets and work sharing and how to collaborate as teams using the cloud, which is now a very popular solution to connect people who are geographically dispersed into authoring and editing jointly on a Revit model. For this class, you should have been invited to two things need to happen to enable a user into a cloud collaboration environment. First, all the team needs to agree what version of Revit you're going to use. So in this case, it's Revit 2023. Second, and we assume that you all have a working license of Revit 2023. You cannot like combine 24 with 23. Everybody has to be in the same slate. Second, you should have an entitlement to use the cloud service, and to do that, the BIM manager or the account administrator of your Autodesk products inside your firm should entitle you with a seat of BIM Collaborate Pro. Right now, Tony, for example, I'm going to invite him, I'm going to enable him to have this cloud service. And so there are different types of cloud services offered by Autodesk. Everything you see on the screen are modules of ACC, the Autodesk Construction Cloud, that offer different type of functionality for different type of design workflows. Docs, for example, which come with the ACC collection, just enable you access to this cloud repository of documents. BIM Collaborate Pro allows you not only to access the repository, but to create central files and edit and synchronize with central in the cloud. And then we have Build, which Build it also has modules around cost estimating, takeoff, project construction administration, and those are an extended type of services to support the construction process. And so when I invite somebody to the cloud, I need to make sure that the username or the email address that is associated with the Revit license matches both the it's matching both in the Revit user profile and the cloud service. And if there's a mismatch, then this is not going to work. So I'm going to invite Tony. And so as an account administrator, the account administration had the power to invite users. I paste his email address. And it's Tony Barca. In BIM Collaborate, you have the ability to create groups. And this is to very quickly organize users by a larger organization. Usually these are like companies. The advantage is that you can very quickly like remove all users from a company in a single step instead of doing it one by one. So I'm going to send an invite, and this only enables Tony with a cloud service to edit a project online. Then the other thing needs to happen is that I need to invite Tony to the project. The name of the project we're going to be working is OXMAN Learning. And in the project administration drop-down list, you have a way to add members. And this is an empty project. And because I want you to have visibility of everything that is in the cloud, I have invited you all as you know what, I think I made the mistake to make you all account administrators. And that is not correct. I'm going to make the architect, and you are project administrator, but you're not account administrator. And here is where I assign the modules, the different modules that you have access. These are all the different modules that comes with BIM Collaborate Pro, the entitlement that I invite you to. And I'm going to add. And so I need to change some of these settings because an account administrator, it's different. A project administrator, that's why you want to be. An account administrator allow you to create projects. And I'm sorry, but this is a trial thing, and I'll have to remove the project administration role. Let's see. The only problem, I have to do it one by one, but it's okay. I'll do that after class. This is I don't want to take some time doing that. Just promise me not to mess with my projects. So now I understand that when I go to my home, you probably see these all this different. When you are an account administrator, then you have access to all the projects that I have under my account. So these are projects under these. This is called the this is like the tenant site. So when you are when you purchase a bunch of services, they need to be associated with a tenant site. The tenant site here is TMM. That's my Autodesk group. And when you are an account administrator, you can create new projects. So what I'm asking you is, if you're here, if you see this screen, please don't create any project right now. I can get in trouble. I'm going to remove that entitle that I give you too much power right now. I'm going to remove that that credential after the class is done. But then you're going to see that this tenant site is made of 3 different projects: Revit Learning, Sample Project, OXMAN Learning. And OXMAN Learning is the one we're going to be working on. So there's a question here. When I add project members, do you give them a seat? No. The model in Autodesk is that each company bring its own seat. So an entitlement is one process, and the invitation to a project is another process. So the idea behind is that every company that's part of a collaboration process will buy the subscription for their own users. The subscription is on an annual basis. And I don't know, it ranges, I think last time I checked, it's like 800 or 900 per seat. They have both discounts, I think. Maybe for 25 users, then the price goes down. And then if you are, and then when you invite somebody to a project, you assume that that person is entitled with BIM Collaborator Pro. There's another type of entitlement. Let me show you here. I'm just going to pick Tony again. If you are a subscriber of the AEC collection, you see docs for AEC collection, it comes with seats of docs. And what that means is that this person or Tony can only have access to the cloud repository in docs. He'll be able to see the files, but docs, having a license of docs doesn't entitle you to collaborate or edit on the cloud. So if you want to edit and collaborate on the cloud in a Revit model, you need BIM Collaborator Pro. If you just need your user to peruse and look what's on the cloud without opening Revit, then you can use the docs for AC collection. These are your two choices.
Question for you, Cesar.
Yeah.
So we're actually using BIM Collaborate. We were curious if we had docs for AEC collection, if we could still preview Revit models on the cloud server.
Yes, that's correct.
And comment, I guess, for collaboration.
Yes, you can. Let me show you an example. I'm going to switch to a project that has some content. This is the AEC technical marketing. And let's say, search for the residence. East. It's not here. Let's see if it's in another one. What's here? Okay, this is Snowdon Towers. This project has it's accessible via BIM Collaborator Pro via Revit. But if you just have an entitlement of docs, you can still use the viewer to access both the model in 3D and the sheets. So this project, it's a urban retrofit in Pennsylvania. And it comes with a set of different documents. These are the documents. You need to be published. Like in this case, the 2D sheets hasn't been published. Let's see if the structural does have anything shared in forms of sheets. This is the viewer. So without the need of opening Revit, you have access to this 3D view. Yeah, and on the 2D side, no, it hasn't been published. So the originator of the model needs to publish sheets, and then those sheets are going to be visible to you without the need of opening Revit. And you have the ability to create comments and use these issues to track and distribute design problems that arise from the coordination.
It'd be nice to be able to convert the 2D sheets into CAD, but I don't think that function is available yet, right?
You can download PDFs, and then I think in Revit, I know in AutoCAD, when you bring you can utilize, it now has a PDF underlay that pretty much act like AutoCAD. Like you can actually sort the layers. You cannot, okay. Yeah. You can trace over, and I believe you can. I don't know if you can explode a PDF in AutoCAD nowadays. It's been a long time, but the PDF underlay in AutoCAD. It's a relatively new feature. PDF underlay.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can just search using PDF underlay, and it does look like an AutoCAD file. This is the PDF, and then you see these are the layers of that PDF, and you can selectively switch them off using the eye icon. Okay, I see another comment from Ruth. It says that project or account not available. Let me see the message here. You no longer have access. You know what happened, Ruth? I think I had you before because you were in the previous class, and I remove you as a user, and then I reassign it again. And so the system must have been confused, but here you are, you're very far. Oh, I did not assign you with
Hey,
a
Cesar, this is
Yes.
Martina, and it happened to me too. Same message.
Yeah, I am seeing a couple of you that I did not assign BIM Collaborate Pro, and therefore you won't be able to see anything. Let's see if this works. So I see Ruth. I have to Collaborate Pro, assign in Collaborate Pro. There we go.
Am I going to get another invitation?
And you can try again the link. And let's see who else is missing.
The original link?
The original link, yes. Zero, Tony. I thought I had assigned you. Let's see.
Yeah, you did. I got it. I'm up and running. That one you're looking at is the wrong email.
Ah, that's the
address.
wrong one.
Oh no,
Okay.
that's the right one. That's the right one. But there was another one, was the wrong one.
I need to assign you with the seat of BIM Collaborate Pro in order to access the. And then let me review Ruth access here. So
Yeah, I got the same message.
let's see here. Project administration. That's not how it's. OXMAN. So Ruth is project administrator in this project. So not sure what might be happening, Ruth, other than you might.
Maybe, can you put Ruth Todd at Page-Turnbull instead of Todd?
Oh, you think the email is incorrect?
Well, they're alias emails, but I think with Autodesk, it has to be Ruth Todd.
Okay, so I have to invite, I think I need to, let's review here, user. So you're saying, can you type it on the chat panel so I can copy paste it?
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
There's another question here. Does Doc for ACC allow us to package, share, consume files via ACC? No. Docs it's only gives you access to it's like a file repository. You can upload files, you can download files, but you don't have access to design collaboration module, which is part of BIM Collaborator Pro. Good question. Okay, let's try this again. Ruth, I'm going to, and Ruth, by the way, does Page Turnbull entitles you with a seat of BIM Collaborate Pro? Do you know?
I think so.
So maybe I'm just need to invite you to the email, because then you will be double entitled. So I'm just gonna do this and see if it works. Company role. Right, admin. You will have access. This is design collaboration. But BIM Collaborator Pro allows you to do these two modules: design collaboration and model coordination, which is for flashes. These are the two modules that BIM Collaborator Pro give you access to. So I'm going to add here. And Ruth, check your email, because you should have received your email of your new email. And Martina also the same thing. Okay, I'm going to invite user here. Refresh the page. Here it is. I need to assign you with a seat of BIM Collaborate Pro. Big contractors, by the way, with deep pockets, they buy this, 500 seats or 1,000 seats. And sometimes when they bring small contractors to work for them, they entitle them, like I'm doing with you guys. But sometimes it's good to negotiate that from the very start on. Are the most profitable, powerful actors in the production able to provide these services to the smaller one, and sometimes they agree, but that's not always the case. I mean, I think the expectation is that everybody brings their own seat. All right, Martina, I gave you the entitlement, and now I'm going to invite you to the project.
So this worked for me this time. So am I supposed to be looking at the members page that has the people's names?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Anybody else have alternate emails that need to be taken care of? All right. So if you are looking at the member page in Docs, what you want to do is to switch the view using this module drop-down list. Right now, you're probably looking at the project administration page. And so Autodesk Docs, it's think of it as the equivalent of one of those services like a Google Drive or a Box, but it's built on top of Forge in order to support the access and the edition of Autodesk products. And so Autodesk Docs come with all these different modules. Design collaboration and model coordination will be visible to you if you bring a seat of BIM Collaborate Pro, and if the project administration entitles you with access of these modules, and I just did that. Docs, if you can do this with me, you can swap your view to Docs, then you will have a folder structure. And then as project administration, you can organize the files as needed, where in general terms, you usually have a folder that have administration files. You can upload up to 60 different types of files and preview them. and that includes docs, PDFs. I mean, if you upload a PDF, there's a PDF viewer. If you upload an Excel file, there's an Excel and a Microsoft viewer. So you don't have to actually open the native project, the native software that the files were created to in order to see what the content of the file is. Models are usually organized into a model. We don't have a big project structure here, but you typically see, the discipline listed here: architectural, structural, mechanical, etc. For simplification, I'm just going to do it this way. And then Docs has the ability to create all these internal workflows, like reviews, transmittals, issues, reports. You come back to the members. And Bridge is a way to connect multiple projects. For example, if within Page and Turnbull, there you have your own cloud and you have a big system of files, you just want a certain file or in a certain folder to be connected automatically into another cloud, then Bridge allows you to automatically exchange those files whenever the system detects a change in the timestamp. And so this is great because it's just reduced the scope of the exchange to a very specific folder and a very specific file. This was something we launched maybe less than a year ago. But anyway, I'm here to talk about how we can start collaborating on the cloud. And Martina, can you let me know if you got access?
Hi, Cesar. Yeah, I have access to it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so there are some of you guys here who do not have full working files of Revit. You have probably Revit LT, or you are not using, you don't have subscriptions of BIM Collaborate Pro. If you only have access, for example, if you have Revit LT and you have Docs entitlement, then you can still collaborate on the cloud as a single user. And I'm going to start with that because I know some of you are here. You won't be able to work in teams, but when you are using, I'm going to open these. I'm going to start from the lower level to the highest level. So the lowest level, if you don't bring your license, what you can do is just upload your static files. We're going to be working on these folders or this file structure. This is a library, a small library. The architectural is going to be live uploaded. The structural is going to be, let's say they have only Revit LT and Revit MEP, they don't have cloud entitlements. And so on the MEP side, let's say this contractor wants to exchange the file. All they need to do is upload it. All you need to do is drag it and drop it on the discipline folder. And what I'm doing now, this is a static file. What means? It means that it cannot be edited on the cloud. It's not live work shared, but it's enough to provide the other team cloud links. So I can link static files in a live work share collaboration process. Now the MEP contractor, in order to look at the the other consultant file, they need to manually download their files into their own server and then cross-link them. It's a little cumbersome because the synchronization doesn't happen automatically and you don't have access to the latest and greatest at any point, every time it's publishing. But this is, I mean, that's the alternate available if you don't have subscriptions available to you. So I'm going to leave this uploading here. But the other thing that if you only have access to Docs, you can still browse the views and the sheets that you set up in Revit. So let me show you this. In Revit, before you drop a file on the cloud, I'm going to open, let's say, a sheet that a project that have sheets. I'm going to open. You don't have to do this. I'm going to open the sample files, the Revit advanced sample projects, which this project has some sheets. So if you want to share with, if you don't have a subscription, but you do want to share your 3D views and your sheets, make sure you do this before you send and upload this file into the cloud. Go to the Manage tab. No, go to the Collaborate tab. You see this button that says Publish Settings. This is the views and the sheets that you want the consultants to be available for read. So if you just send the file as it is, the only thing they're going to do, they're going to be able to see is the default 3D view in brackets. That's the default view. But in here, you'll say, I'm going to create a new set. And this is a set, let's say is DD, it's a DD set. And this DD set needs to include all the floor plans. And notice that there are both views and sheets here. I'm going to select none, and I'm just going to say all the sheets in the project, which is only 2, are part of this set. Save. And so what was going to be available and visible in the cloud is just those 2 sheets. I could also choose to include additional 3D views. So 3D views in the model, these are all the 3D views. And I say, I'm going to send this 3D view, maybe this other 3D view. Save and close. So this is an important step because this is how you segregate the information that's going to be visible in the cloud to your other consultants. I'm going to save and close, and I'm going to save this file as in a different location. And for those who are using Revit LT and you have an entitlement of docs, you still have this cloud model. So save the current Revit model to the cloud. Saving a cloud model, it's an LT feature. So when you do that, you will be presented to the projects that you have access. You select, in this case, this is my tenant site, the tenant of projects. Under OXMAN Learning, under project files, under models, I want to save my Revit LT model. And then I'm saving the model on the cloud. And then you can work with this model on the cloud, but you can only save it. You cannot synchronize saving, and only one user can open the file at a time. So the whole concept of work sharing is the ability of have multiple users accessing the file and edit it at the same time. When we save a Revit LT file as a cloud model, then it's living in the cloud. You can access it on the cloud, but only one user can access it at a time. Does that make sense? So there's really no work sharing available to this file. And then close. And all you need to do moving forward is just save. You can open this file from another. You can close this file and make it available to another Revit LT user. So that's the second tier. The first tier is you upload a static model. The second tier is you work as a single user using Revit LT. And then the third tier, the more complex one, is when everybody's collaborating on the cloud at the same time. So any question here before I move to that topic? All right, so let me show you how you start a new file on the cloud. Now let's look at the repository now. This is done. So check this out. This is the static model that I uploaded via drag and drop. And when I click on it, I can preview the 3D views and the sheets that were set up under the project settings. And if I don't do anything, the only thing I'm able to see is the default 3D view in brackets. Links don't travel. Only the contribution of the discipline is visible in this view. But a live workshare model can actually link this model. Go back. Sorry, I'll close this. Okay, so the second choice that I show you, this was a Revit LT model. This was this one. And notice it has a little cloud here. It's a cloud model. And this one can only be edited by a Revit LT user. And only one user can access it at a time. And then the other one, the other method I'm going to do right now is how you enable a live workshare model. So I'm going to open this Revit. This is a small little project, and it's small so that we can synchronize it very quickly. You don't have to do this. Just watch, because this is a one-time setup when you start the project. So this project, it's a small library. It's been created by a single user, but the team is growing, and then you start. You need the contribution of other users as well. And when you're at a point that this can be created and shared in the cloud, this is how you enable work sharing. First of all, let's talk about what a central file is. A central file, it's a process by which Revit track the incremental contribution of multiple users. And the central file basically is just acting as a triage. It allows the users to upload their changes into the model and download the incremental updates of other users into the local machine. And so what's really happening is that behind the black box, you are downloading a version of the cloud file into your local machine. You aggregate changes into the local machine, but Revit is keeping track of what's new, what happens after you download that file. And then the delta of new things that you add to the model are actually uploaded into the cloud every time you click Synchronize with Central. Where does your file live? If you go to the file options and then go to the file locations, you see there is a default path for user files. This is the path where the local file is saved, and a local file, it's a mirror image of the central file placed in your local workstation. You can change this path if you want. But this is where the local files is going to be saved by default. All right, at the moment, this file is just living in my workstation or a local network server, and I want to move it into a cloud repository. So to do that, you go into the Collaborate tab and hit Collaborate. I need to save the model, of course. And then Revit's gonna give me, I believe, two choices. Do you want to collaborate in a LAN local network, or do you want to collaborate on the cloud? If your policy is, if you're just going to work at a local office, then save it on the server. But that forces the users to be in the office in order to collaborate. This is your own network server, the one server of your local company. Or you can save it on the cloud. And if you're in this cloud, the team can be geographically dispersed, working from home. There's no infrastructure to be set up. There's no additional expense on additional VPNs other than having a good, solid internet connection. And that's what I'm going to do. I want to collaborate in the cloud. Revit's going to present me the projects that I have access. And my list of projects is going to be different on your end. So on the OXMAN learning project, on the project files, the model, I'm going to create the architectural file. I'm going to save it. When you place this file in the cloud, Revit creates something called a work set. And a work set is a subset of geometry that is intended to make your work more efficient. A work set is a collection of objects that define a scope of work. For example, if you're creating multiple different type of packages, maybe a work set is phase 1 and phase 2, or if you are creating a big multi-level building and you're grouping work sets every 5 floors, for example, maybe everything that is on floor 1 to 5 is part of work set 1. It's a way to break down the model in reasonable, loadable, and unloadable sectors so that you can unload them when you don't need them. A typical examples of work sets are interiors. That's usually a package that's different for work and different from shell and core. For example, shell and core could be another work set, and everything that is into the shell and core package then goes into that work set. Another could be landscape, and another one could be superstructure or infrastructure, I don't know. But work sets are not intended to be treated as layers. This is just ways to unload the model from geometries that are not part of your scope of work. So in smaller projects, if you're part of a small firm, maybe you don't need any work set at all. Maybe the only work set you need is the one you create for each link discipline. But it's okay not to have work sets if this work is small. When projects are big and complex, like big commercial or big airports, for example, then you have to plan work sets way in advance. And work set is something that it's enabled right here. You see this drop-down list is now enabled. Before it was grayed out. So I'm gonna click close here. And let me show you what the work set dialog box look like. This is the work set dialog box. By default, Revit creates 2 work sets. All the views, the levels, and the grids are placed under these shared levels and grids. And then everything, the rest of the geometry is placed in this generic work set 1. And again, work sets can be closed or open as needed to facilitate the efficiency of the Revit processing. That is the main goal of a work set. So I'm going to create, just to show you how this works, I'm going to create a new work set. And you don't have to do this on your end, because this is a one-time operation and the BIM manager usually do this. I'm going to create one called interiors. And so all my interior people, furniture and everything is going to be placed there. Notice that when I add a new work set, my name appears as the owner of that work set. And notice there's a column that says owner and a borrower. The owner of a work set is the only user that can edit in that work set. It's a very selfish way of working, right? Because only you claim the ability to add and contribute to elements placed in this work sets. Whether a borrower, it's whoever gets allows a borrower. Multiple people can work in the same work sets, and it's like first come, first serve. If you're coming to a floor plan and grab certain elements, then you become a borrower of that work set. So I'm going to create another one because I'm creating them. I'm going to be the default owner. This is, I'm going to call it shell. And another one that is going to become landscape. Another good practice is to create a work set for every link you have. So I'm going to call this link underscore MEP, because sometimes you don't want to work with the MEP model in the middle. And I'm going to create another one that it's link structure. These are good practices. And if you have an AutoCAD file that you want to also link, for example, the civil site or AutoCAD underlay, then you can create your link civil or your link AutoCAD. I'm just going to call this a CAD. So all your CAD files or your CAD links will be placed in that work set. Because I am the owner, then my name appears here. Notice that it says right now it's open, and then I hit OK here. I don't want the link work sets to be the active work set. So work sets now moving forward, work sets, you need to be aware of where you place things. So whenever you bring a new geometry, a new wall, a new element, it's going to be associated with a work set. And so if you're an interior designer, make sure that your active work set is an interior work set. If you're doing the exterior shell and core, then that's your active work set. So you can change work sets in the collaborate active work set dialog box, or you can do it here in this drop-down list at the bottom of the user interface. I'm not done yet. I mean, I need to make sure that I assign all of this to the appropriate work sets. For example, I'm going to select all the exterior walls. All I did is hover over, select all of them. And these walls and all the nested elements inside a wall will be assigned to the work set shell. And I apply it. So when I select this wall and I look at the instance properties, now you see that there are these two additional parameters that weren't here before: the work set name and the work set and the edited by. My name is always associated with an element that it's being edited live. Let's look at this window. This window is still part of the work set 1. And so a quick way to select all of them in the project, you know, how you can do this: select all instances in the entire project. And then I'm going to make this part of the shell. Then I'm going to do the same with the windows here. Select all instances in the entire project. There's 23 storefront walls, and I'm going to make them associated with the shell. It's already in the shell. Okay, that was a quick things. You also don't forget some doors. The doors don't automatically travel to the work set of their host. I'm going to assign this to the shell work set. So another thing that happens when you enable work sets is that in visibility graphics, now you have a tab called work sets. And so the tab in VG allows you to control the visibility of the elements contained by that work set. So if I want to visually check that all my elements in the shell are there, I'm just going to temporarily hide it. I'm hiding the work set shell. And there you go. Looks correct to me. Maybe it's a shell and core, and maybe I include the floors and the roof in that work set as well. So I can select individually these floors. And again, this is a one-time. The initial setup is a one-time operation, and in the properties of these elements, these are part of the shell as well. It's going to switch off. There you go. Okay, and then everything else, everything that is left inside here, is part of the interiors work, right? So I'm going to select everything that was left, and I'm going to make this part of the interior work set. Apply. And I'm going to go back visibility graphics and select work sets and return the work set visibility to visible. A quick way to check the status of the work sets is to look at this tool. This is the work set display. When I enable this work set display settings, you can say display the work sets, the work sharing in work sets. So notice there's a different color for every different work set. So in the work set settings, these are all my work sets. This is the color associated with the work set. So if you are like, if you inadvertently place something in the wrong work set, then this will display it. Say, for example, you forgot to make, you're working in the shell and you forgot to change it. So when I place a door, for example, and this door is hosted here, you see how it's red, and this is a visual cue. Oh, that is in the wrong work set. It should be blue. So you select this door and then go to the properties and change it to the shell work set. And then now it should be blue. And so for the users, let's be organized. Let's try to put everything in the appropriate work sets. And the work set display allows you to have this visual color overlay to make sure that everything is in the appropriate work set. That makes sense. Work sets, how to create work sets, and how to verify that your geometry is the appropriate work sets. I'm going to leave the shell as my active one. And then I'm going to decide, I don't have sheets here, but under the manage, under the collaborate tab, publish settings, I'm going to create under the existing set one, I'm going to pick some 3D views in the set, not 3D views in the model. And I'm going to decide what I want to share with my consultants. Maybe I want to select the elevations. I want to select a couple of sections, the 3D view, and a floor plan level 1 and floor plan level 2. That's all. These are the views that, I don't know, some principal needs to review. You don't need to publish the entire set. I'm going to save and close, make sure this checkbox is enabled. And this model is ready to be moving to the cloud. Any question? All right, let's talk about the synchronization process. So sync to central, it's a two-way street. So I think I have a diagram here. All right, so when users are working in the central file, or maybe, yeah, so somebody starts a project, somebody activates work sharing, work sets are created to segregate the model in big scope of work, loadable or unloadable pieces of geometry, and they are saved in the cloud as a central file. Then the users create local files, and this is just navigating to the central file location in the local network, or if you're in the cloud, you just navigate directly from the home page. Then you create a local file, which is a mirror image of the central file in your local workstation. And then you decide where you want to work. You can work as an owner by owning the complete work set. I don't like you to be an owner. It usually create problems. But I highly suggest to be collaboratively and borrow elements. Borrowing elements is simply grabbing it. So when you grab an element, you're borrowing that element. And then other users can also work in the same work sets. So think of this as, it's a library of geometry. You're just grabbing certain pieces of that geometry to work on in your local file. So when you save a file, you actually save your local file. But when you synchronize with central, you're actually uploading your changes to the cloud repository and downloading the contribution of other users into your local file. So it's a multi-step process. When you synchronize to central, Revit upload your changes, then download the changes by others, and then save the file again. And so when you see the synchronization process, you see all these little bars that are confirming all the multi-step process. Users can communicate between each other. This is called edit requests. And this is in the event that somebody has control over a certain geometry and it's preventing you from editing it. And so you can send an edit request. Maybe we'll do a test live later. The thing at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you synchronize with central. When you synchronize with central, you return the borrow elements it's like returning the book to the library. You close the file, you save local, you synchronize the central to change to share your contribution to others. And then at the end of the day, you have a centralized file with the contribution of everybody. There's something called reload latest, which the only thing it does is that you download the contribution from others, but you don't upload your contributions. And this is if you want to see what others are doing, but you're not ready to change with the team. And then relinquish all mine is relinquish the work sets I own. So if you are the owner of a certain object and you want to return it to the central file repository, just relinquish it. Synchronize it with central, automatically relinquish ownership. All right, let's see. Let's go back into Revit. This is the file that is on the cloud. Notice in the workset dialog box, I'm the owner of everything. And notice in the settings of the synchronization, there's a checkbox that should be by default. It says, whenever you synchronize with Central, also return borrow elements. And I'm about to do this. So remember I said synchronization a multi-step process. So first is save the local, reload the contribution of others, upload your models, save, and then save again local. So there are 2 saves in the process. So each bar measures what's the step happening. I'm going to open the workset dialog box and notice that in the column that says owners, my name is no longer there. Oh, what happened? Why is he there? I'm going to relinquish all mine. Let me see again. Yep. When you relinquish, you're allowing others to work on these work sets. And that's very important. A relinquishing is usually the most, this competing ownership of objects. It drives some users impatient because they want to have access to certain views or to certain pieces of geometry, but other people is working in the same thing. So, but the best thing is to have very discrete, independent, separate tasks. So if somebody's doing shell, you can jump in the interior. So if you're doing, multiple people can work in interiors, but maybe in different sectors. If you're like working in the same room, in the same space, then you're just like working next to each other, you're going to be fighting for the ownership of a lot of elements. So I don't recommend you to do that. Okay, so this file, it's a central file in the cloud. I'm ready to share it with others. So I'm going to close this file. And this is the, you made changes that haven't been saved, so I need to save it at the local level. Then I'm going to close it. And this file is ready to be open and shared by others. And so, any question here? I think now I'm going to ask you to jump into the project. So everybody open Revit and stay in the home page. And I need a volunteer who is open to share the screen with me. Anybody raise a hand? Anybody wants to do that? Or I can name somebody. Who wants to do that for me? And don't worry, I don't put you in the spot. It's just so that you can share from the user perspective what's happening. Any volunteer? Shivani, you want to help me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm going to tell you when to share the screen. All right, so notice in the home page how you're starting to see these little icons here at the lower left corner. So there's nothing here, and then there's another version here. This is a cloud model created by somebody using Revit LT. This is a local model that hasn't been work shared. And then this is a cloud work sharing model, right? And so this gives you sort of a clue of what's, oh, and here's another one. You see this one here? This is a work share model at a local level. It doesn't have the little cloud. So by looking at this little tiny icons, you kind of get a sense of what is. how it's being shared and collaborate at different scenarios. Okay, so in the homepage, you will see now this link that says Autodesk Docs, and this will give you access to all the projects you've been invited to. So I invite you to the tenant site called TTM, and I need to change the account to do that. These are all the accounts I'm part of in here in Autodesk. You probably have been invited to different tenant sites, but make sure that you switch the account to the TMM ARC. And inside TMM ARC, there are 4 projects. The one I want you to open is OXMAN Learning. You have access to the doc structure. So what you see in the user interface is basically a replica of Autodesk Docs on your workstation. So you see I have the project files here. And then when I click, I have the admin coordination model. What you see in the welcome page, it's basically docs. And then go to the model and notice that, oh, I have an error here. Let me refresh it. Refresh usually, yeah, this is it. So this is the files. It says this was synchronized with Central at 6:38. And when you do, it's just open the file directly from here. And when you do that, you just select it, click, and Revit start downloading the file, place it in your local workstation. And let's all of you do this at the same time. So those who are following me along, were you able to open it? Did anybody have a question or a concern?
I can't open it because I was invited to something like a year and a half ago, and now that folder's empty and I don't see yours.
Folder's
So-
also empty for me.
Can you try this, you guys? If you click this drop down, you should see a change account.
Okay,
And then make sure that it says TMM ARC. And then click this, this component library. For some reason, it goes default to that one. But if you click this drop down, you should see OXMAN Learning. And then project files, model, link library.
okay, I have it. Thanks.
Who else spoke up? Was it you, Tony?
No, it was me, Andrew. I still do not have it.
You don't see anything at all?
It just says this folder is empty. I have the TMM ARC OXMAN Learning file, but it's just empty. I can see it online. When I pull up a view online, I can see everything there, but I just can't see it in Revit.
Okay, let me see, Andrew. I see. I know what it is. I know what it is. So when that happens, I have to go to the docs, members, Andrew. And you're with your Gmail, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you administrator. There you go. So you may want to go back to Revit and hit this reload and see if it does it for you.
I have it now.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Anybody have a problem? Okay, so this is how you open local files on the cloud. And so if you were able to open the file, then we are all in the cloud environment. And we can start adding our own contributions into the project. I'm going to ask you something. This is a good Revit practice. When you're working in a workshare environment, you want to work in your own views. Views are work sets. And if all of us jump suddenly on level 1, we become borrowers of that, the work set level 1. And so to avoid like having to compete with different views between us, let's duplicate a view, duplicate level 1, and then add your initials at the end. Rename it, rename the view, and you say level 1 Cesar. So this is my view, and I can do in this view what I want, and I'm not going to be fighting for the work set level, the level with level 1 with somebody else. This is not the view that's going to be used for documentation, but this is the view I'm going to use to add and model additional geometries that are part of my scope of work. Now, I'm not going to be able to see your version of the views until we synchronize with Central, but that's fine. Let's just keep it light for now. And so if I want to know who is online, I'm just going to enable the work set display settings and go to owners. I can only see my name here because I haven't synchronized with Central. I'm gonna synchronize with Central now. When I do that, I'm gonna start seeing the activity of you guys on your end. Every time we synchronize, there's a refresh of what is the status of the Central file. And hopefully I see some activity on the work set display settings. Owners, no, I still just have one. I don't know why. Maybe I'll have to give you a little bit of time. And so I want to demonstrate a little bit more of the ownership. And here is where Shivani, you're going to help me. Are you on level 1? Shivani?
Yeah, I created duplicate view with my initials. So.
Okay, awesome. So you are in your view, I am in my view. You see these 2 desks here. You're going to work in those 2 desks, and I'm going to work in these ones here. Okay. And so I'm going to grab this table. I'm just going to move it back. I'm going to grab this, and I'm just shift it back. When I do that, notice that these, in the properties of these objects, my name appears as edited by. And then do the same, make some movement here on your end. And so when a piece of geometry is edited by somebody else, it will be locked by you guys. Like if you try to grab this and do something with this, it's gonna, hopefully it tells you that it's being edited by somebody else. So did you do any change, Shivani?
Yeah, should I synchronize?
No, not yet. I'm gonna select this and notice how in the properties of the object, the properties of this, it says it's being edited by Shivani. And so if I grab this and I try to do something with this, Revit gets angry. It says, sorry, you cannot do this because Shivani is working on it. I won't be able to access this piece in geometry until Shivani synchronizes with Central. And same likewise, if Shivani grabs this piece of table, it's going to see my name, or you guys can see it, that this piece of geometry is edited by myself. And so, and now when I switch to the work set display by owners, you see all your names are there. And I'm going to switch this to owners. I can see what all of you are doing. Each of you have a color here. the work set display setting owner enable me to see who is working in what. It's like a map of owners. And for each of you, there is a different color coding. If any of you grab a piece of geometry, then this synchronization is almost live. So this is like a live track of what's happening in the model. And I don't know the change, like visually, I don't know the changes that you guys are working on until you synchronize with Central. And so I'm going to synchronize with Central. And I see other people colors. You see how fast that happens. And so the time it takes for Revit to read these live changes is actually a setting. So in the options where it says, you see this thing here, it's called work sharing update sequence, update frequency. Every 5 seconds, my local machine, it's pinging the central file and say, hey, what's changing? What's changing? What's changing? Every 5 seconds, and the same as you on your end. And that's what's keeping track of what everybody's doing at the same time. All right, so when you synchronize with Central, my contribution to the model is going to be moved to the central file, and you will be able to access my geometry. So let's do that. I'm going to synchronize with Central and hit OK. And you're going to see I'm saving to local, uploading my changes, saving to local, saving to Central. And you see my color is no longer there. And then if any of you grab and move the table I was working on and just move it to the left or do something with it, now you are able to work on it because I no longer own it. Does that make sense? So that's how work sharing works. And let's see, let's try to add something here. Pick any room of your choice and try to add some pieces of furniture. Let's say, I think this is what is this? This is a retail, and this is a retail. Like you can make some, try to work on level 1 and add a few pieces of geometry on this level. Other can go to level 2 and start adding additional pieces of furniture here. You can grab it from, you can drag and drop furniture from the loaded families, or you can load more. Just try to add one thing. And if you see something that could be improved, you can do that as well. You're architects. How can you make this better? And this is a mock project, so there's not a lot of room to do changes. But if one of you also can want to pick the landscape and add some trees or something. For example, I am going to work in I'm going to add a new view. Duplicate view. I'm going to call this color. And then in this view, I'm going to add a new color scheme that use rooms, and for every change in the name, add a color. We talked about this last time. So I created this view. You don't see this view on your end, but when I synchronize with Central, I am uploading this view to the central file. and you will be able to see the changes. I'm going to be able to see your changes, and that's how we start like collaborating. I can see all your views. You see, I can see Maria, AW, Andrew. And so you could be working in floor plan, you can be working in 3D. Yeah, I'm going to give us 3 minutes to do a change in the model. So each of you jump into the model and do something. If you are a Revit LT user, unfortunately, this is not going to work on your end. But because there's no work sharing, but you can work on the cloud model. Like, you know, when I was showing you earlier, this is when you look into the recent file, the icon with the cloud, it says that it's a cloud model, and it can be read by a single user, and I can work as a single user in this model moving forward. So you can be in your office working in Revit LT in this cloud model, close the file, and then go to your home, and from home, open the same cloud model. But you won't be able to work in a team. Your model can be linked into a work sharing environment to see the changes you have. And because if you have docs, for example, you will be able to also see in the cloud, in docs, you can preview the viewer and see the sheets that are part of the team exchanges.
Did you say we needed to synchronize or save for you to see the changes we made?
Yes, and synchronize, it's this icon right here in the upper right corner. It's a little cube with a double green arrow. Or you go to collaborate and say synchronize with Central. Yeah, if you don't synchronize, then we won't be able to see your contribution. And so, but let me also explain something. We are right now working. And I'm gonna pull here docs. Do I have it somewhere? Okay, ACC. We've been synchronizing with Central. Each of you has been adding stuff. Hey, don't forget to sign in. Oops. Sorry, I need to. Sorry, I need to get to docs here. Okay, OXMAN. All right, so if you were following along the class and you had some contribution, synchronize with Central. But I just want to show you something very important. The model here that we all working on, it's this library link architecture. And notice how it has this cloud with a lot of people. So that's us collaborating in the cloud. But it says this is version 2, and it says it was last updated at 6/22. But it's 7 o'clock, and we've been working together as a team, yet this file doesn't seem to be updated. So let me show you a fundamental concept here. Docs, when we live work share, we have two buckets of information. This is bucket 1 and this is bucket 2. Bucket 1 is the live work share model. And this live work share model is not visible to us via Docs. It is hosted in an Amazon server. It is not accessible via Docs. And it's only visible in Docs when we publish. The team decides when this is a good idea. When is it good to share this file with others? That's for the team to decide. Usually, when you have enough work that has been validated and it is good for others to use it. And so when you publish the model, you make a static copy, a static model, a static version of that model visible in Docs. And at the moment, we've been all working in this live work sharing environment. That central file is not visible to us. And a new version is going to be made available when we publish. And let me show you how publish works. So to publish a file, you can do it directly from Revit. I mean, I'm going to synchronize with Central to see some of the changes you've done. And I'm working in, this is a live work share environment. And notice when we synchronize with Central at the same time, sometimes there's a conflict, in the ideal, the maximum number of users concurrently working in a model, pushing it to the limit, it's about 15 users. More than 15 users, the central file is going to grow in size too much. And so I recommend to start breaking the model in different two models, maybe the west side or the south side. But that's why, you need to put attention. This is something that needs to be discussed early in the project. How many users you're going to need, anticipate to have access at the same time. And then you plan the number of models needed in the workshop environment. I can see all your contribution here. Great. So I told you that the publish settings is the list of views that will be made available to the user. And to publish a model, you do it directly from the homepage. So notice in the homepage, when I am in my OXMAN learning project, there's a publish status that says there's an update available. And so Revit is telling me that you can publish, you can create a new static model on the cloud for others to use. All right, so if I'm at a point, that I can share the architectural model with the MEP or with the rest of the consultants, then I select the model and then I hit the publish button. And when I do that, then the timestamp of the model visible in Docs is now going to be updated. So when the lesson here is sync with Central is not the same as publishing, not the same as publish. Sync with Central updates the model in the Amazon server, which is not visible to us. But if you want to share something to a consultant, you have to publish. And when you publish, only the views and the sheets that are in the publish settings are going to be made available to others. The status of the publishing, this green checkbox is now visible there, means that the publish has been successful. And when I go to Docs, you see now it says version 3, it have a timestamp of 706. This is a version of the model that is new. And Revit, and the beauty of this is you have version control. So in the cloud, there's no limit on space. So every version that you decide to publish, it's accessible to you. And if you want to return to any historical backup, you can say, oh my God, version 3 was incorrectly done. I need to return to version 2. So you can just hit here, you can download it, or you can make it current. But if you make it current, you're going to lose the newer ones. For example, in this example, I don't know, these students did a horrible thing in the model. I want to return to version 1. So I just click on the version, I click these 3 dots here, sorry, version 2, and make it current. It's going to remove the first few versions and going to make the active, it's going to return the central model to the original model. Or you can download it and say, okay, I want to keep a copy of one of these versions and retrieve it for X and Y reason. What takes the longest is to make the model visible in the viewer. And so you see this circle spinning. This is the time it takes for the cloud to compress the geometry and make it visible in a 3D view. And this takes a little bit of time. When that circle stops spinning, then you will be able to see this in 3D. I mean, right now you see it, I only have it gray, and it's not when this finished processing, then both the 2D views that I chose, the sheets, and the 3D view will be visible for others to use. Now, the link files, I'm just going to close it there. I'm going to return to my file. I'm going to switch to a 3D view. And let's say the MEP guy, he doesn't have subscriptions. He's just uploading his file manually, like I showed the very first time. And so you can link via using relative cloud links. And so you don't have to do this. This is a one-time operation. I'm going to go to the manage links, add a new file, but instead of using a network path, I'm going to use this external cloud path, which give me access to docs, OXMAN learning, project files, model. Oh, this is, why am I not seeing it? Oh, no. I need to do it via, this will link another LiveWorks sharing model, like this Rack Advanced Sample project. If I want to do it statically, I have to use the desktop connector. The desktop connector maps the content of Autodesk docs into your project as it was an external drive. So Autodesk docs, it's available to users. And I think the problem here is that I need to enable docs to read this project. Let me show you docs, how it looks like. Docs. This is the new version of Autodesk Docs. And I can tell settings, select projects. Yeah. In Autodesk Docs, you can, instead of having this long list of things, of projects you've been invited to, you can be very granular about what are the things that are visible in your drive as as a file. So, the beauty of Autodesk of the connector is that you will see the content of docs mapped into your drive. So I'm gonna, here on the docs, you see TMM Arc is here, Autodesk Learning. And so all the contents of the cloud, it's mapped into your drive. So you can actually just drag and drop files if you wanna exchange them. And now I have access to the MVP model. And so when I link a static model, that's what I do. I go manage links, Revit, add. I say I was going to go via the drive. So I go Autodesk Docs, TMM, OXMAN Learning, project files, model. Here is the MEP. And then I open it. And then that static file that was uploaded by somebody who does not work with BIM Collaborate Pro is now mapped with our relative cloud path. And now it's linked into the model. You see the AC units on top. And then every time the MEP consultant uploads his file into Docs, replaces the file, and then the file gets updated. So there are different ways of still work in the cloud with different users having different entitlements and different ways of collaborating. But those are the things that need to be discussed up front in the model. Who's gonna bring licenses? Who's paying for what? Can I be a guest of a larger firm? Or there are firms that definitely say, sorry, I'm not gonna collaborate on the cloud. This is too expensive. I'm just gonna do the manual method, but I need an entitlement of docs. So it's 7:15. I think that is my share for the class today. Any question here? Let me sync with Central to see the latest one. And I'm also going to be able to share this mechanical model with you. All righty. Next class, we're going to do, I think it's detailing. No, it's for next class, we have phasing and design options. So if you work with renovations and you're interested in knowing how to do existing conditions and new conditions, don't miss next class. We're going to talk about how to create phases in a project. We're going to do a simple office retrofit in different phases and design options. And how can you can actually display multiple design options inside the same Revit project. So we're going to go over that concept next Wednesday. So you'll be entitled for this week and next week if you want to continue testing and playing with BIM Collaborate Pro. In my opinion, BIM Collaborate Pro, although it seems that it's an expensive investment, think about what it would take to do this using IT infrastructure. I mean, the alternative is using like Revit Server, which Revit Server comes with an entitlement of Revit, but you will have to place a server of servers somewhere in the organization. You have to open the Fire, open a specific internet routes, and then those servers spend time in investing in a server and replacing the server and all the infrastructure. When you account for the amount of dollars it takes to do that, you might as well be well served by having a subscription. I think we make the math that if you do the math, the use of a cloud service is about $1.50 per day per user. That's pretty low if you see the total picture. Something to consider when you are like weighing how to collaborate with others. But this idea that you can have everyone collaborating on the cloud live and contributing to the project, it's very powerful. What I did not cover is the method of exchanging and consuming information in BIM Collaborate Pro. I mean, that's the whole process of creating a package and reviewing it, consuming it. That's a topic you want to review. I can do in next class. Otherwise, we just do the design options. BIM Collaborate Pro, it's a very extensive way. There are multiple ways of collaborating with others. What I just show you here is the live link. What means is that everybody update the links and then they automatically update. But there's a high risk in that process because you are relying on, you have a high trust in your consultant. And if they publish something that messes your documentation, then you're at risk, right? And so in high risk situations with high confidence, then it's okay to do live work sharing. But in complex projects where you want to reduce the risk and control the degree of the exchange, then it's best to use the design collaboration module, which I haven't covered yet. But I'll cover that. That's usually, Collaborate Pro, it's a whole animal, and I usually don't cover it in these classes, but we can look at that at the last class if you guys want. All right, I'm beyond my time. Thanks for calling in. Any question? Last minute question. All right, feel free to stick around if you have specific questions, or else I'll see you Wednesday. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Caesar. Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Need it. Hey, Caesar.
Yes.
David and I have a more specific question about, we're basically trying to decide if we need to purchase BIM Collaborate Pro license or if we can just purchase BIM Collaborate. We are working with live CAD files, but also needing to be able to do, view the Revit and make comments in the viewer sort of way that you were showing us earlier. And then we're also needing to do the package, share, consume whole process with everyone else's live files, like any CAD exports of Revit models and stuff that other consultants are sharing. From that description, and I'm not sure if I'm missing anything else, David, would we be able to use just the cheaper BIM Collaborate? Or does it sound like Pro is the way to go?
Yeah, BIM Collaborate Pro will allow you to create all those packages and share it and consume them. I don't think you can do that with just BIM Collaborate. BIM Collaborate, it's I never advise anyone to purchase it because it doesn't have the collaboration tools you need. I think the only advantages is that you can see and access the packages that created by others, but you cannot create them. And so what's the point if you cannot create it? And so I would recommend you to go with the BIM Collaborate Pro.
Does that include CAD? I mean, I guess we're just working on CAD for this project, so it doesn't feel like we're publishing any Revit models.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen the latest thing we've done with AutoCAD. With AutoCAD, you can actually open and save files directly on the cloud.
Yeah, that we're
okay.
doing.
Okay, so then
And so once
okay.
you do that, is that the the
that's
pro?
the pro.
Yeah. Yes, I recommend you go with Pro. And I can send you via email. There's a chart that's very comprehensive about what are the like docs, BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro, and there's checkboxes that say what's each of them. That is like an infographic. Let me find that for you if you find it.
Okay.
That goes into a greater detail what other capabilities are restricted.
So yeah, we're trying to convince our leadership group to invest in this product, especially for this project we're working on. So that chart would absolutely be helpful.
Yeah, and I don't think we've come across that chart just in our own research. We've only come across a chart or a sort of a list comparison between pro and non-pro.
Yeah.
But it sounds like with this more comprehensive matrix that would.
Yeah, and I have it internally on Autodesk on sales, so I'll pull it up from my documents and send your way.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
With that being said, it'd be nice to learn how to consume Revit models.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll do that at the start of next class.
Perfect. I'll be on.
To keep the thread connected. I didn't know how much interest there was going to be, but sounds like there is. So I'll do that.
Yeah, we've been having lots of conversations, and I absolutely love. I'm starting to like ACC. I mean, I think it's been great just to get files quicker than waiting for somebody to send the email link out.
Yeah,
and it's a good way to track what people are using based on their consumed or the timeline.
Right.
Yeah, you're talking about the design collaboration module.
Yeah.
And I didn't go into that. It's to deliver all of this in a single class for someone who's never used it. I didn't want to overwhelm.
Oh yeah, I get that.
But here's the timeline that we were talking about. So I'll go into that next class. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
I also got some questions, Caesar.
Yeah.
So these might be really stupid questions because we have like, I would say an extremely bare bones setup for how we use Autodesk products compared to like what's possible. But so for the Revit links, when you're inserting Revit links, that works with NAS, right? Like a network attached storage. Like if you have something saved on a storage network drive, you can link Revit files to that, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And then does BIM Collaborative Pro, can it work similarly to something like Dropbox for standard file sharing, or is it really only just for Autodesk files?
Oh no, it could be anything. In fact, it becomes a lot of firms use it as a file repository for everything about the project. It accepts PDF, Excel spreadsheet, everything.
Awesome.
It's just a matter of how you organize it. Yeah. So, but it's not built like Google Drive and Box doesn't have the viewer, it doesn't have reviewing capabilities, it doesn't keep track of the issues in the project, and so our version is intended to use the cloud as architects and engineers expect them to be used. So You can replace those other services with just this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can restrict also the access of certain folders to certain users. For simplicity, I make all of you administrators, and administrator have visibility to everything. But on the folder structure, if there are files that are sensitive, that shouldn't be seen by some other than the contracts or financials, then you can restrict that via permission settings, and you can say these users have no visibility, and then you can edit what is the degree of access per user per folder.
Awesome. And I'm sure it is, but it's like the BIM Collaborative Pro price, it's per seat, right? It's not like buy one for like a couple users, it's one per seat, right?
It's one per seat.
Yeah.
And